Oh, I'm actually live? Ha! That's funny. I didn't know I was actually live. Oh, sorry. It's supposed to start at 10 automatically. I just woke up, okay? I am not a morning person. Holy moly. Um, but anyways, yeah, Frantic posted this video already, so I guess you guys already watched it. So 10 a.m. in 30 minutes is when they're supposed to do their live stream. And, really 15 minutes of listening to my family? That must have been fun. Yeah. So anyways, here's the video. I guess we can look at it. Is that audio one? Yeah. Is it? Yeah, it is. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm just checking it out. Yeah, there's a link you sent me, right? I don't know. In Discord, you mean? What the hell? They're live here? Nice dev. Nice. Apparently they can't tell time. Or I can't. One of the two. Not awake yet, but...
Very familiar starter-based location, but of course you can play career over here. You know, it's all rigged up for missions and so on, and we've added some new missions as well. There's some new animal attack missions that can spawn, and I guess they're similar to kind of rescuing people who've had a vehicle problem mission, except of course that there's an aggressive animal will have spawned nearby, and so of course you can rescue them from that situation. It's quite action packed. That's quite fun. And of course, then you're set up more to be more likely to get on land missions around this location as well. So you start using land vehicles as well as sea vehicles at the start of the game, which is quite fun, and more land vehicles in career. So it does mix up the gameplay quite a bit there. There is the nuclear plant. I think many of you have spotted this in the new trailer. So this is a damaged nuclear plant. It's not based on any one nuclear plant location. It's kind of inspired by several different ones, and the narrative here is that, of course, it's a melted down nuclear plant, and so of course there's damage to it, and there is background radiation here as well. I won't teleport in. It is low level radiation. You can spend a little bit of time here, but I think you will take damage if you spend too long without hazmat kit and so on. And I think the radiation is more intense the closer you get to the building. You can of course explore it with unmanned vehicles as well, and there's obviously opportunity for us to add some cool missions there if we get to that, and that's something the players want. We'll carry along the top. Of course, there's the storage yard, the storage depot, and if we look over here, similar rail locations. Of course, I am whizzing around here. It is 30 kilometers across, so it does take a while to show it all. There's a couple of new ones there. This is a purchasable train yard location, so for spawning trains and the like. And I'll just nudge us over this hill because, okay, that's actually quite far. And traveling and traveling and traveling and traveling, and we can see there's a mine here. So there's a mine head down here. You can see there's a ore terminal here. I think this is actually a just spawn in. Is this a working one? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that one is. If it isn't, I think it's easily moddable. I thought we had a mission file for this one, but we'll come back to that. But there's a old mineshaft head there, and then there's some of these abandoned, historic kind of abandoned rusting digging machines. I've seen some players have made some incredible working versions of these in Stormworks. Absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see those. I was thinking today, actually, I haven't mentioned this to the developers yet, but there's we've of course got the new drill heads. It'd be kind of cool to have like maybe like a ore refinery, kind of like cutting blade that you could potentially get these things working with. If we could create some kind of blade that can scrape the ore off the surface of these patches, then you could potentially start to build a working one of these. Otherwise, you could, I guess, put drills in the teeth as well. But that's just a thought I had. I'm sure players will have better suggestions, and let us know, please do, in the issue tracker, the official issue tracker, with of course the report bug / request feature button here. It's really useful for us. We do read it all, and we do try and respond to as much as we can. Feature requests often don't get responded to, but they get read and they get recorded and they do get discussed. We tend not to respond to stuff until we potentially implement it or potentially take some kind of action on it. So even when we don't respond to stuff, it doesn't mean it's been forgotten about or ignored. It just means that you know, it may potentially be, it's been discussed, and it's potentially on our radar, potentially on a list, and it may potentially happen. You see a lot of these features in this arid update are feature requests, are responses to feature requests, and these feature requests may have been made in the last month or so. They may have been made years ago. But it's quite exciting for us to kind of be responding to a lot of different feature requests and suggestions that players have made to us over the last 5 years. A lot of it is here. So yeah, this is the new quarry, and I think the one thing some players have said is, oh, we haven't seen any of the planes and stuff in the GIFs and videos. I think there are on the store page some screenshots, but here you can see it's a very open, wide area. Be careful if you are racing around. There's kind of these old ships from when this was supposedly submerged at some point. And there's a few more, but otherwise it's been kept intentionally very flat and open. And this is, I suppose, so you can get your racing cars out, put the hammer down, and have some fun. Potentially players can set up rally circuits or different types of racing circuits and so on, which we know are very popular for some players. So yeah, there's that. And I will just quickly mention we've also got the aluminium ore terminal. So this redder material here is the aluminium ore area, and of course there's the mine is kind of cut into this cliff face here, and you'll see we've scattered. If I spawn over here, I think it requires me to teleport for the ore to load, and you can see there's patches of ore all over the place in this area, so loads of aluminium ore mining to do as well. We do have weapons DLC on at the moment. Of course, that's, you know, not part of the Arid DLC. We have left it turned on when we started, but we won't spawn any guns. We won't be attacking any animals in the video today. Of course, animals can take damage, and they can be healed with medic kits. They can be revived with defibrillators, and so on. Some animals are kind and harmless and gentle. Other animals are very aggressive and will chase and attack you on sight. And of course, this is something that we're actually going to develop further. We've already, for the Halloween update, we do have an announcement there, but I will maybe talk about that later in the stream. So that's an overview of the new Arid location. What else do we have to give you a quick overview on? There is just 26 minutes to release now. I will refer to, of course, the store pages, and essentially there's the 4 kind of key points to the update, and of course, one is the biome, the other is the railway lines. And I think that's very significant for a lot of players because it's a big request that's been asked for a very long time. And yeah, as I was saying, we haven't responded to everyone who's asked for more railway lines or different train features until now. And I think this is kind of the typical way we might respond to this stuff is by implementing the features. So there's not necessarily a lot of discussion that happens, but we do respond in, I would say, the best way possible of trying to implement players' requests and taking their feature requests into consideration. We've also got the mining refining, which we've looked at a little bit, but we could talk about that a little bit more. We've got the new mining component that actually is added to the base game. Obviously, these mines and these quarries are only in the Arid DLC, the Industrial Frontier DLC, and then of course there's the animals as well. Yeah, I don't know if we've got more stuff to add to that. I don't know if the other developers want to comment. Have I missed anything off there? Is there anything we should be bringing up?
Yeah, I think we've shown off most of the visual stuff with the island. We could look to answer a couple of the questions that we've got from chat, if that's what we want to do next.
Sure thing. Shall I run the pre-recorded video then, because then I can just focus on chat. Let's see if I've got some pre-recorded stuff from natural disasters here. Let me remove the natural disasters image.
Right. Anti, what is next?
And it's not
I've just spawned a tornado on top of us.
Oh, brilliant.
But it's,
well, that's what we want.
It's a live
so you can see the kind of
anyway.
the clouds are kind of rotating kind of gently around, and the clouds in the center are experiencing quite like an aggressive rotational force. I don't think birds are physics-based at the moment, so I think that bird is safe.
Here we go, and I'll turn the volume off for the media source. Shall we get some low mood? Let's add the how do I add the Stormworks music? Let me see. I think it's just media source, isn't it? So I'll just be a moment, just adding some music into the background, and then we'll get to the questions. I've set it to loop. Perfect, that's media source 3. I'll just turn the volume down on that. Shall we get some low mood? Let's add the how do I add the Stormworks music? Let me see. I think it's just media source, isn't it? So I'll just be a moment, just adding some music into the background, and then we'll get to the questions. Set it to loop. Perfect, that's media source 3. I'll just turn the volume down on that. If you attack the animals, well, that's something for maybe the players to add in. Hopefully, players won't just be attacking the animals all the time. But yes, that is something you can do, and of course, yeah, they do interact with the weapons. But they also interact with the medical stuff, so you can heal them if you accidentally hurt them. Obviously, I am sure no storm workers would intentionally harm one of the Stormworks animals. Where are we up to here? can you please explain what exactly is and what is not included in the new expansion? So that's covered in the post that'll go out when the update releases. So I'll just quickly have a look and see what I've written down there, because obviously we want that to be as clear as possible. But essentially, when you get the Industrial Frontier DLC, in a similar way to the Weapons DLC, there'll be a tick box when you start a new game. We do recommend starting a new game because obviously it won't be active in your existing games. You do need to tick it when you start a new game. And of course, if you tick Industrial Frontier when starting a new game, it means that on the map, the Industrial Frontier arid mainland will spawn. Some of the islands spawn in slightly different places relative to the Sawyer Isles, and obviously you'll potentially start at the career and the creative locations on the arid mainland as well. So the arid mainland is included. You don't get this new arid location in the base game that is in the DLC. I will just bring up this post because I have written it all down, so we've got a clear. And of course, we've got extensive patch notes coming as well in just 20 minutes when the update drops. So it'll all be listed there as well. So we've got the new arid mainland. It does more than double the land mass in Stormworks. It's about 400 square kilometers. It's the deserts, the salt plains, the canyons, the mountains, the volcanoes, the quarries, the mines, the industrial sites, and more stuff that we've been showing in this video. Obviously, there's the new rail and road as well. That's all part of that mainland. We've added the new mineral types, and this is part of the DLC, so they're only available where you've got the Industrial Frontier DLC, and the new ore types are the mineral types as iron ore, aluminium ore, and gold-rich dirt that can be refined down into iron ingots, aluminium ingots, impure gold, and pure gold. I think you melt them down into the various elements. And there's the industrial laboratory for purifying the gold further as well into pure gold, and that is in the industrial DLC. We've also got uranium ore, which we've added to the base game, I will point, and that's because of the new fuel system. Maybe we'll talk about that more, but that's a base game change. So we'll just talk about the stuff in the DLC for now. The animals are DLC only, so you've got the wild animals, the farm animals that we've shown here, but you've actually got lots of other animals we haven't shown yet, because there's different animals spawn in different biomes. All of the creatures are included in the Industrial Frontier DLC, so you'll find if you go to the Sawyer Isles or you go to the Arctic, you will see there's lots of deer, there's badgers, there's different types of animals spawning in the more temperate zones on the Sawyer Isles. Then if you go to the Arctic, there's different animals again. There's polar bears, there's Arctic foxes, there's Arctic wolves. Is the foxes or is there just wolves? I think I might have confused those. I think there's just the Arctic wolves, Arctic hares, and we've also reworked seals and penguins, and so they are part of that update as well. There's also obviously the domestic dogs that are part of the Industrial Frontier DLC, and the dog whistle interacts with those. I think the dog whistle, with all the components, what we do is we keep that as part of the base game, in the same way we did with the Weapons DLC, because we don't want vehicles to not work from the workshop. We don't want to kind of separate the workshop vehicles so that some require the DLC and some don't. We're trying to avoid that. Here on the stream, you can see I've discovered a Scottish wildcat in the I don't know why it's a Scottish wildcat here, but there is. There's a few of them wandering the plains. So yeah, with the dog whistle is in the base game, but obviously it doesn't really work without the dogs that are part of the DLC. the new animal attack missions. They are also part of the Industrial Frontier update because they require the animals. And we are also doing a further update a week Tuesday because there's the Steam Screamfest, and we are having a little bit of fun there. This is going to be quite fun. We've got a new creature type, a series of new creature types that are zombies, and that'll be part of the Steam Screenfest. That'll be a limited time event. The new creature types, the zombies, will just get added to the DLC then a week Tuesday. But we are adding a you'll potentially have some zombies spawning in game, which will be quite fun. Yeah, that's the DLC. Let's carry on with players' questions.
I've got a couple of questions that I can answer from chat. I think I've seen one player ask if we're going to up the despawn time for ores. Yes, I think we've doubled it from 30 seconds to 60 seconds, so that you have a bit more time when you're dumping stuff and transferring your ores. And then I saw a player ask what happens if you try and put the wrong mineral in. All the hoppers now have filter types, just like all the fluid types have. So all the default processing vehicles all have the filters set up correctly, so that you can only put the correct ores in there.
That's really good, and actually, you may want to continue on with that and explain the new career fuel system as well. That's kind of related to this stuff, isn't it? We've modified the fuel tanks that are at the bases, and we tried to improve that system a little bit specifically for career mode. So you've still got places where you can withdraw jet fuel, diesel fuel, and you can still spawn vehicles with said fuel. But what we've done is we've kind of created like a fuel store that's part of that base. And so when you spawn a vehicle, it can spawn that vehicle automatically with the diesel, with the jet fuel, with the coal, with the uranium rods. But now, it's like just part of a general game update to the base game. Uranium rods are spawned from uranium ingots. Obviously this only applies if you don't have the unlimited fuel turned on. If you're playing in career mode and you've got limited fuel, then you do require uranium ingots to spawn uranium mods. You do require coal to spawn coal and fill vehicles, and coal and jet fuel and diesel as well. But they're stored, and the bases start with some as well. And you can see how much is in from the vehicle editor. You can see how much is in from hovering over that base on the map. So you've kind of got a finite level of fuel. We do start you with quite a lot in the bases, but you can potentially run out, and when you spawn stuff, it spawns the vehicle using the fuel from that base. When you return to workbench, it returns that fuel back into said base. So it's kind of similar, but you don't have the ability to buy infinite fuel anymore in career. You will eventually run out, so there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of fuel management. It's not immediate, but as you start to play career for a while, you will start to think about either having to buy new bases to access the fuel there, or potentially acquire fuel from other places and transport it back to your base. And did you say there was another question you wanted to answer?
Yes, there's a couple of questions I can go through. One player asked, how are ingots and ore transported? Ingots and ore are all very similar to the coals, so you'll transport them inside hoppers, which have been renamed from coal hoppers and coal ducts to mineral hoppers and mineral ducts, and just part of the same system for those.
Yes, exactly, and as you said before, it's there's kind of a filters to set up as well, and I think I'm right in saying that basically once you've set the filters, the ores just won't go into the hoppers. They'll basically kind of be deflected off, won't they, physically?
Yes, but yeah, and if you're trying to take coal or any minerals out of hoppers or ducts manually, it'll select the lowest count ore in there. So if you accidentally spill a couple iron ore into your your coal hopper, then you can take them out very easily.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't know we'd done that. That's really nice. So yeah, all your existing kind of coal handling stuff will work for these other ores as well. Any coal hopper will be able to handle any other type of hopper as well. Yeah, here you can see me using the dog whistle to retrieve these dogs here, and I put them in the car, and I'm going to heal them up with my health pack as well. Right, what more questions do we have? So C4V Engineering asks, there is a space center, and yes, there is. It's basically a launch pad area that is just intended to give players who are interested in space a little more to do in terms of interactivity. The launch pad is a location. It's kind of got some I'm not sure what the name of them is, but it's the area where the tunnels below the launch pad where the exhaust gases are meant to escape from, and then it's also accessed via train lines as well, so you can potentially transport your very heavy rockets and so on to the launch pad using trains and so on, and potentially start to play around with the logistical operations around space launches as well, if you so wish. But you know, this isn't the space update. This is the industrial frontier update. But we did want to add the space center. I think it would be quite a fun little location to add to the game. And I mean, there's some players who've made really incredible spacecraft as well that deserve a proper pad to launch from. So that's there. Let's see. Gianni asks, do we get bigger build areas for ships? So I think the answer to that is no, not right now. It is the same sizes as the previous edit grids, and we've kept that consistent. I think that makes a lot of sense for many reasons, including, you know, there's already enough kind of edit grid sizes without adding necessarily more workshop sizes, because obviously you've got to be at an appropriate edit grid to spawn the type of creation you're trying to spawn already. And also the vehicle size stuff is a performance issue. You know, we are kind of slightly between a rock and a hard place in terms of we want to give players what they want, and if players want larger vehicles, then that's kind of what we want to give them. But at the same time, other players are very concerned about performance optimization, and with Stormworks, obviously, larger vehicles can cause performance issues. So, you know, if we allow too much of that stuff, then and there's also certain larger vehicles aren't guaranteed to work. They might crash on some people's computers if they've been made with the modified edit grids and stuff as well. So that isn't something we have expanded in this update now. So it's the same edit grid sizes. Mr. Kriebert asks, will this change the already existing rail system? I'm not fully sure what that means, but you might have asked that while I was explicitly showing or touching on something earlier, so I'm not really sure when you asked that. But you do have the modifications to the railway network in the Sawyer Isles. So, well, we're on the pre-recorded game now, but on the map you may have seen the pathway, the link from the Isle of Dong to the Isle of Sawyer has now changed. It doesn't access from the north anymore, it accesses from the west. There's train lines all across the Isles of Sawyer. This is part of the base game updates. And then there's a link from the Isle of Sawyer, at the south of the Isle of Sawyer, to the north of this new arid mainland. In terms of the train mechanics, the trains still work the same, but obviously there's a lot more railway lines, and there are some locations where you might want to have like 2 wide trains as well. For example, the Space Center Launch Center, I think we've got, is it 2 or 4 rails heading towards the launch pads, so you know we'd added that in so players can potentially make some custom vehicles for that location if they so wish. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Ooh, we've only got 6 minutes to launch now, so we'll start thinking about launching. We'll just ask a few more questions, answer a few more questions. If you run over an animal, does it derail the train? No, so at the moment, trains only derail if the wheels go sideways. And so that's essentially the derailing feature is intended so that you only really derail if you're going around a curve too fast. But a lot of the arrow train lines, we've taken a lot of player feedback on board from the previous updates. So the curves are a lot smoother and a lot gentler on the train lines for this new arid mainland, and that's very intentional. It's just intended to be more realistic, and especially at the junctions, there are some sharp junctions on the older railway lines in this new area. We've just been careful to avoid that, and we've been making it so that the railway lines are generally avoid the sharp turns. So it's probably quite hard. You probably got to go very fast to derail a train in the Isle of Sawyer. Hitting an animal will not, but it can certainly damage your vehicle, because these animals are physics objects. They do have mass to them, and they will damage your vehicle if you hit them with speed. So you don't want to do that, particularly with the larger animals. You can really damage your vehicle quite significantly if you do hit one. Will there be custom bridges added? Asked Roland. Well, I suppose it is possible to add static vehicles as kind of custom bridges. At the moment, we've just been using some. I'm not sure if the railway bridges are new. I think they're probably based on the existing railway bridges over the ocean, and the road bridges we've reused the style of road bridge from the other islands as well, just because we know it's there and it works, and just to kind of keep things consistent. Some players are asking about air conditioning. So this isn't a concept we've added yet. I mean, I do quite like the idea of that kind of stuff to cool yourself down. That is certainly the kind of feature we could potentially add. I think things are very much kind of up in the air. We do have quite a lot of minor updates for planning at the moment, a lot of new features. We're not 100% sure what the next major update is going to be, so definitely if you've got feature requests and ideas, we would love to hear them. We've got very open mind for the next major update. We've got plenty of minor updates in progress, but there's more minor update ideas to add in as well. So if you've got ideas for major updates, you've got ideas for minor updates, please do let us know. And again, it's go to the game menu, press that report bug / request feature button, select feature drop down on the page, and type in your idea, and yeah, we'll be really pleased to hear from you. 3 minutes till launch now. Very exciting. So we'll be going live in just a few minutes. Any news regarding a sounds update? I'm very pleased to answer this one. Yeah, our sound engineer, he's absolutely fantastic. He's been coming in and spending time with us, and yeah, he's done loads of stuff. It's not that simple. We do have to update the code as well. So we've got loads of new sounds, and I think we're hoping to get a sound update out soon. He's now sent us some sounds. We've got a series of sounds that are sounding great. They're going to be some really big improvements, and there's going to be some new sound effects to add. Some of the sounds are a bit more complicated, and we just need to change the sound code. So we'll be putting some time into that soon, and we will get you the sound update. I hope it's going to happen in the next couple of months, but it does take time, because obviously we've got to talk to the sound engineer. It does take time to find these sounds and get them ready. He sent us some stuff. He's still working on loads of stuff. It's an ongoing thing. Yeah, we've got the sounds back, and it's just a case of getting to the code and getting them all wired up and getting that update together. So yeah, we are looking forward to that sound update. It is coming, and in the next couple of months. It's not the next update. The next update is the Halloween update. After that, we will get some more stuff to you after that. Isaac, do you wanna answer any?
I mean, I don't have any more questions on my list, but we can see if there's any more questions in the chat as we come down to this last minute or so.
The chairman asks, what will the new island be called? A lot of the locations on the island are just named after our players. The actual main island itself is the Mir Isles, named after Sid Meier, the legendary game maker. He's one of the all-time greats. I am a big fan of the older guys who were there when making games wasn't so easy, I suppose. So yeah, we're pleased to name it after him. But then there's dozens and dozens and dozens of the sub locations are named after the great workshop creators. Okay, it is time. I am just going on to the store page now, and I will press the buttons, and hopefully this will work. The Valve site has been a bit slow today, but it looks like it's working now. And this should now be live. So I'll just take this opportunity to just say yeah, thank you very much to all the players who make Stormworks great, and we make the game, but it's the workshop creations are such a massive part of this game, and I couldn't make a lot of them. No one on the team could make most of the workshop creations that we're seeing on the workshop. The level of skill and talent and time and energy that's gone into them is just incredible. And it's a huge. And then it's not just the workshop creators as well. It's the people who are involved in the community. The fantastic moderators who are giving up their time, like Trapdoor and TT and Krail, and it's also the people who run other communities, and of course the YouTubers and the content creators who are sharing tutorials or sharing their experiences, or helping the popularity of the game. So it makes a big difference. So thank you to everyone for being involved in that stuff, and it's an honor to be involved as a developer, I suppose, but it's a team thing. It's pretty cool. We are pretty lucky because not all games on Steam manage to find success. So thank you very much. So yeah, the update is now live. Thank you very much. We'll hang around for a few moments to answer questions, but otherwise I'm just going to check everything's worked and gone okay, but I think it is. I should post the Steam announcement, shouldn't I? So let me get that published. And I'll just publish the Steam announcement, and this is going to cover a lot of the details on...
Okay, guys, so I started off rough today, so I'm going to restart a new stream, because I'm going to have to edit out the beginning of me sleeping on this one. So we'll be back in a few moments. We've got people here. We've got Klara, we've got Tony, Captain, and hopefully Frantic will join shortly, and a few other people, but we'll see. So I'm going to start a new stream, and then I will be purchasing this, and we'll try it out. So let's let Deltars finish talking.
Some of these creature functions, it's only possible to spawn creatures with DLC turned on, but there are new lure functions for doing that stuff, so there's potential for new add-ons and so on, which is quite cool. Spawning creatures and so on. I can see there's a bunch of fixes and reworks there as well, and yeah, we are quite interested to get players' feedback, obviously, with the new stuff, because there's a lot of changes in this update. We have been working on it for a very long time. I think the Arid Island we started developing way over a year ago, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. We've been working on it for a very long time, and as far as updates go, it's certainly the update that the most work has gone into, because we have been working on it for at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and it's been a lot of work. Certainly the last 6 months we've put a lot of effort into it. So yeah, it's very exciting. So yeah, we would love to hear players' feedback, and certainly if you do have any issues with the game, just let us know on the issue tracker, and we certainly expect there'll be some stuff. There's a few cosmetic issues that we're aware of. We've certainly held back on trying to rush any fixes if it's just a cosmetic issue, but we'll be getting those to players in the next week or two, I expect. Over the next few weeks, we've got quite a lot of minor updates and fixes coming out, so that's going to be fun. Awesome. Let's check up with the chat. So the DLC should now be on the store page, and I have set the new version of the game live. So you should now see version 1.6.2 live, and I'll click on the store page, and yeah, I can't see the DLC live there. Actually, it's not showing up. Let's have a look at the DLC store page. So the DLCs certainly purchasable on the store page. On the DLC store page.
Yeah, if you want to go to get the DLC, go to Browse DLC Packs, and then click the New Releases tab
to the Stormworks
right
page
here.
yet. I imagine
so if you go,
it's going to show up in a minute automatically, but we'll keep an eye on that. If it doesn't work,
I just had it. So if you
we
come over,
will get that stuff sorted.
If you come over here, you hit Browse All. It's
so
going to take you to the DLC page.
Installation process.
Hit,
someone asked
New
how
Releases,
to install it.
and
So
you can get to it right here.
DLC files are actually just in the base game. So if you
Releases.
update the base game, you've got the DLC files, but they're only activated when you actually own the DLC. There's like a Steam API thing. So if you've got Stormworks updated, then you're good to go. You just need to purchase DLC, and that just gives you the license to activate the content, essentially. Gas Ketsi asks, devs, any idea about the multiplayer editor? This is the #1 request, I think, from players, and we would love to do it. We are also thinking about potentially a new game. It's not going to be very soon. They're talking about potentially starting working on something. We do obviously have a big shared servicing plan for Stormworks. There'll be loads more updates in the future. Stormworks 2 in a literal sense, but in a spiritual sense, I think we'd like to make a new vehicle editing game with a new big open world that you can go and explore and do cool stuff in. And I think some features are just going to be easier to deliver in a new game. So we know that multiplayer editing is important to players. It could happen in Stormworks. If it doesn't, it'll definitely happen in our next vehicle building game, which would hopefully address a lot of players' feedback on Stormworks. And some of it, I think, is just going to be quite difficult to add into Stormworks, but I don't know. Anything could happen. We're not currently working on it, and we don't currently plan to do it, but we've changed our mind loads in the past, so it could happen, but we're not planning on it right now. Let's see. What else? Ace asks, can I ride the horses? No, you cannot ride the horses. We haven't done that. Yeah, you can pet the horses. You can obviously pet the dogs. At the moment, you can't ride the horses. We'll see how popular a request that is. I think we've got some ideas for the animals. I think an animal harness that you can connect as like a vehicle component could be kind of cool. You could start to make horse-drawn carriages and stuff. I don't know, but just ideas at the moment. So please do let us know your future requests. But no, you can't ride any of the animals at the moment. No. Cats and Plains asks, where is Stormcat? Well, we did find, of course, some of the Scottish wild cats there. They are, of course, wild animals. They're not domestic cats. Yeah, you can find some cats wandering the plains. You can pet them. I petted one earlier. It's a sweet little cat. Boy asks, can we rename pets? No, you can't right now. Guess it would be a UI feature. Certainly, if that's a popular request, do post a feature request, and of course we'll discuss it as a team. I think it's a good idea. I just don't know how easy it would be for us to do, because anything that requires a bit of user interface or like a pop-up thing where you can type into, does it really work? I don't know, but we'd certainly have a think about it, because that's quite cool. I think at the moment you hover the animals and it describes their breed, so yeah, that's that. AG Architect asks, will you add the ability for us to drill for oil and gas? So again, I think I've said in previous videos, I think any oil industry updates, fantastic idea, really in keeping with the game and fits in really well. And yeah, we'd love to do something like that. Will we do it? I hope so, but we haven't really started working on stuff like that. We have discussed that, and that is one of the conversations we're having. Please do let us know, because we're always looking for players to deliver what players want. And certainly if lots of players were to be asking for that, then that's certainly something we'd be very interested in doing for players if we can do so. Definitely, please let us know if that's a popular one. I love that idea. I think it's brilliant. And I've said so in the past as well. I think people have brought up the idea of oil industry and stuff in the past, and it's a great one. Really in keeping with in the game. I like it. Wake Guru 2008 asks, is the new island available without the DLC, or do you need it? So this new island is the majority of the DLC, this new location, so it's only available with the Industrial Frontier DLC. And when you start a new game, there's the two checkboxes. There's the Weapons DLC checkbox for activating weapons in your game, and of course there is also the checkbox that you can click for activating the Industrial Frontier DLC, and that will spawn this new arid island in the game, but it's not available if you don't have the new Industrial Frontier DLC. Let's see. Isaac, would you like to answer any more questions?
Can you milk cows? Is a great question. No, we don't have cow milking mechanics.
Asking the important questions. Oh dear.
But I think we've covered the majority of questions that have been asked. I think a couple of people are asking when the update is live. The update has been released, and you will get a game update through Steam when the Steam servers decide to send it to you. Yes, the update is currently live, so you can go and have a look.
Yes, and I will just mention that if you just verify game files, so you just right click on Stormworks, go to Properties, Local Files, and then you click Verify, and that just basically forces Steam to update. So if you ever have trouble with any game not updating on Steam, you just verify the game files, and that'll force Steam to update. And so if it's not giving you the update yet, just click that, and that should hopefully work. Right, I'm not seeing the DLC on the store page for Stormworks yet, so I'll fix that. But otherwise, we'll get that sorted. But you can just access the store page for the DLC now just through the... there's the link on Discord. There's also the link in the latest announcements. It says Stormworks Industrial Frontier, new DLC out now. If you click there, there's the link to access the store page for it right at the top there. And I'll just try and get this this link on the store page. Don't know why that's not shown up. Should have shown up automatically, I think. So I will have a look at that. Otherwise, it might just be something that automatically happens on Steam. Otherwise, the update is out. It updates live. You should see 1.6.2. And if you grab the DLC from the DLC store page, then of course you will get the Arid DLC content too.
Okay, just waiting for him to finish up so I can restart the stream. So we'll see what he does.
Unblockable asks, why does the boxer dog have a weird orange ball thing instead of a head? Yeah, we noticed this earlier. For some reason, they're picking up the the dogs are quite fun. You've got the if you throw stuff on the floor, they're quite playful. They'll pick it up and bring it back to you. They just want to play fetch, basically. And so they will just pick stuff up. They're just being dogs, basically. And so it's picked up the basketball at the starter base. What I'd say is just take it off it and throw it away. Well, yeah, I think we noticed that earlier. It's a cosmetic issue. There's a few cosmetic issues that we know about, and we'll get them fixed over the coming days and weeks. But yeah, certainly the basketball not connecting to the dog's face properly is one of them. But the dog, so yeah, the dog can pick stuff up. I will say, you know, if you've got the weapons DLC as well, do be careful, because dogs will pick up anything you throw. So there's certain things in the weapons DLC that is a bad idea to throw in front of a dog. It might just think you want to play fetch. I won't say what that is, but yeah, no, they're just dogs being dogs. They do a few fun things. You've got the dog whistle as well, and I think it's explained on the description for the component. But one long blast, if you do a single long blast, it tells the dog to stay, and the dog will stay. And 2 short blasts on the dog whistle, and it will come to you. It'll follow. So that's how you command a dog. Janny asks, will animals be modded? I suppose not right now. We haven't added the modding support for the animals. Terms of the thing, you know, it's quite a cool idea actually. I don't think it would be necessarily too much work for us to do so if we add more modding support. And that is something we're discussing at the moment. You know, what was the next direction for the game? We've just been really had our heads down just getting this one finished, but we don't know what's going to be next. So more modding could be something. If you want to be able to mod animals, certainly do let us know. It's quite cool, quite a cool idea. Kermit asks, will they return the grenade? Well, I don't know. You'll have to try it out, I guess. We'll have to find out. Yeah, so you've got the dog whistle, and of course they just like to play fetch, and you can of course pat them. You can pick them up and put them in seats, and of course you can revive them with a medical kit as well. So I will also mention that if you don't already have Stormworks, or your friends don't have Stormworks, the base game is now on discount. So we're going to do a discount for this week. No, this weekend actually. It's a weekend deal on Steam, so Valve have been kind enough to help us with some promotion there. So we are promoted on the front page, and because of that we discounted the game. So the weapons DLC is, I think, 25% off. The base game is 35% off. So if you don't have Stormworks, it's a great time to be getting it, and I think that runs Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I think it ends on Monday at, I don't know, it's the normal weekend deal times, so I think it ends on Monday at 10 AM Pacific Daylight Time, which is around 5 PM UTC-ish. So yeah, that'll end on Monday, but for now, yes. And of course the Industrial Frontier is, I believe, 10% off as the launch discount as well, so that's set up there. So yeah, and that lasts for a week. I think the launch discount is 1 week on there. Someone asks, are you planning to add a snipers or RPG or more hand weapons? We don't have plans to add more first-person weapons at the moment, but you know, again, same answer applies there. I think we have had people request this before. It's a reasonably popular request, and yeah, we certainly are looking at ideas to do more stuff. I suppose we have done several support updates for the weapons DLC recently. Obviously, we did the new armor types recently. We've been adding the military outfits and so on. So we have supported DLCs in the past. Hopefully, we'll do updates for that apply to the Arab DLC in the future, and hopefully we'll carry on doing updates that apply to the weapons DLC. Obviously, we also love doing updates to the base game because that applies. But we're just looking for players' feedback. Are you Game 19 asks, does the drill actually pick up ores? So yes and no. The drill has basically a small hopper kind of attached to it, and you can see it's got a hopper surface on the side. So the drill will pick up ores and store it internally in its own hopper until that hopper is full, in which case it'll just drop them on the floor at that point. So you can basically use it in both ways. You can use the drill just with a full hopper, and then you can scoop the ores up in some other way. You just got to basically get them to touch another hopper and they'll get picked up that way. Or you can potentially however you want to the drill head, and you can use the inbuilt hopper for the drill head to do that, or not. It's up to you. So yeah, you can kind of do it both ways there. Devs, have you killed the endless foghorn? Well, Beta, I've got some good news for you there. If you go to the foghorn, there's a button on it. If you press that button on any foghorn, it will globally toggle all foghorns. So if you don't want your foghorns, you can press the button on any foghorn and it deactivates the entire foghorn network. And I think I did that earlier in the video, in the stream. It does work, and so yeah, you can turn all foghorns off just by clicking on one foghorn. Kudality asks, are there mining spots on the first island after you buy the DLC, of course? Well, the answer actually is that we've updated the coal mines in the base game. So the coal mines in the base game, you used to be able to just like dispense coal from them, and now it's the mineral system. So you've got you can do coal mining in the base game, and you can do that at the Isle of Donk. You can do that at Dean Hall Mining at the Isle of Sawyer. And that works in the base game, so you can and that's how you get coal now. Of course, we've also added uranium ore to the base game, and that's actually, I won't say where it is because I think players can discover it themselves, but it's a very difficult place to access, let me put it that way. Possibly one of the most difficult places to access in the game, and you can get uranium ore there in the base game as well, and that's because uranium ore is useful in Korea now, because of course you can make your nuclear fuel rods from uranium ore, and I believe there may be another uranium refinement location in the Arctic, nice and out the way there. So it's not easy to get nuclear power in career mode now, but of course it is possible, and all the more rewarding because of course you're doing the full supply chain there. Tom DRV asks, will there be an update to train track texture? I would say probably not. I know it's kind of like very non-descriptive and very bland, but I mean, I think it's very clear that they are train tracks, and I think it's the aesthetic of Stormworks being quite minimal that we've kind of decided not to go too detailed on the train tracks. I think from an art style point of view, it might not kind of look good if the train tracks are really detailed and the rest of the game kind of isn't. So I think we're probably going to leave the train tracks kind of expressed as the two lines at the moment. I don't think we're planning on updating that. Let's see. What is the approximate distance from the Mega Island to the new Industrial Island? I would guess 15 kilometers. What would you say, Isaac? Does that sound about right?
I can take a look. Yes, about 15 kilometers. Yeah.
Oh, I think it is. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, so about 15 kilometers of, and it's the kind of the overwater train track. We know that's not popular with all players, but it is only a small trip of it. It's not entirely unrealistic. You've got some really big kind of overwater train lines that are kind of similar bridge styles in Scandinavia. I think that I'm aware of. So it's not entirely unrealistic there. But obviously, then you've got by far the most train lines is now on the arid mainland. Let's see. Cody asks, will you be updating the AI for the DLC anytime soon so that they can capture new islands? So the weapons islands are kind of moved now a bit, because the islands spawn more to the south of Sawyer, so you kind of got more of your important islands between the Sawyer Isles and the arid mainland. So you will get the AI stuff. AI updates, certainly raise it on the tracker, and we'll discuss if we want to potentially be doing stuff like that, adding new AI capture locations to the coast of the new island, of the new Mega Islands and stuff. Could be quite cool, couldn't it? Because you could be defending them from land and land-based vehicles to defend your locations and stuff. Could be really nice. That's quite a nice idea. So certainly, please do post it on the issue tracker, and we all sit down as a team and discuss important things from the issue tracker together, and we have the team meetings and stuff. So it's a great way to reach us. But that's a really good idea. I like it. Can you improve the legibility of the map? It's hard to identify roads, train tracks when zoomed out. Yes, we could potentially benefit from some extra lines on there, couldn't we? I don't know. I know in some parts of the map, you can't actually see the roads or train lines because they're actually the same color. I think on the right edge of the map, they've ended up being the same color, so they don't identify. But we kind of don't want to introduce too many different colors. Largely for performance reasons, but also just for kind of legibility as well. So I think if you try and put too much info on the map, it can get difficult to read. But yeah, I appreciate that some of them are a little bit difficult to see. I don't know is the answer. Let's have a look. Xanon 2410 asks, why is the new DLC not free? We've done a lot of free updates. We're very pleased to have done a lot of free updates. The game has been out for over 5 years since we did the closed alpha. We did the closed alpha in September 5 years ago. What would that be? 2017. And then we released the game in early access on Steam in February 2018. So we've been servicing the game. A lot of you have been playing for 5 years now, over 5 years, which is pretty cool. We've done a lot of free updates. I think the feeling is that this update is just too big, and it's just not part of the core game. So it kind of makes sense, I think, for it to be a paid expansion. The average player now, interestingly, has 97 hours. That is the mean play time in the game, is over 97 hours per player. It just constantly creeps up. It's absolutely incredible. That is very, very high for Steam, so it's quite cool. Yeah, so that's it's I think in terms of on Steam, we're one of the I guess the higher value per hour played games, so certainly I think it probably makes sense. Also, it kind of works well, not just for us as a business, but also as players. It does actually end up being a more popular update because it's more congruent. Like, it kind of communicates that this really is a very big update. We have doubled the size of the world in Stormworks, and all of this area has all the missions and stuff rigged up, and it is made the game a lot bigger. And I think being a paid DLC also communicates that to players in a way that if we just did it as a free update, it wouldn't be as effective, and it's definitely worth it as well. I think yeah. I see someone in the chat says 3k hours soon. That's pretty good. I think Beginner showed me his playtime. I know he plays the game for like full time for his job, but he's got 11,000 hours. I think a lot of players have over 6,000 hours and stuff. It's absolutely crazy. If you've got more than 1,000 hours, the greatest of respect to you. I know that's the Stormworker role on Discord, and 1,000 hours in any game is pretty impressive, but I think in Stormworks, where you build stuff, and I'd like to say that I think you probably do get quite something back playing Stormworks, in that it's not like a mindless game. I think it's great for stimulating the mind and learning about design and solving problems, and I think those skills are transferable. So yeah, no, absolutely, it's great that players are playing and enjoying it, and it's awesome to be developing a game that players are playing. It's really cool. So yeah, the average player has a lot of hours. It's great to see that so many players have jumped in and unplayed, so thank you very much for jumping in and playing the update. You can see we've got almost 4,000 players playing right now. There's a massive spike where everyone's jumped in. It's quite high numbers for a Tuesday.
I'm still waiting for him to finish.
Just pointed out to me the DLC for some reason hasn't shown up on the store page, but we'll sort that out soon. Once I finish this stream, which we'll do soon, we'll end this stream quite soon.
DLC,
I'll just answer a couple more questions, and if everyone's happy, I'll end the stream and I'll just try and figure out why it's not showing up on the store page and get that fixed.
It'll take you to this DLC. What do you call it? Search and destroy. Just hit new releases.
From the developers, are there any more important questions to answer?
Just FYI.
Jake points out it's Thursday. I said Tuesday, didn't I? It is Thursday. You're absolutely right. It's not Thursday if you've been trying to get this update out. There's no such thing as days of the week anymore. Pro pilot tasks, will there be easy modding added in the future? I'm not sure what easy modding is, but please let us know specifically like what players want to specifically mod, and it's certainly something we were discussing it today as one of the potential directions we could move in next is more modding and better modding, and I think obviously there's already a lot of different types of modding in Stormworks. There's like 4 or 5 different types of workshop item, maybe more than that. And it just mods different parts of the game and stuff, but if players want more of that style of modding, more specific style of modding, and then just please let us know specifically like what it is. Give us some examples of how another game has done modding and why you think that would work for Stormworks, and we'll chat about it and take it on board.
Which is interesting, because when he says modding, he usually does not mean third-party modding like the NSO or the SMF. So make sure you tell him exactly what you mean.
Thank you very much to everyone who's joined us at the launch party live stream. I think we'll all head off now, and I'll probably leave this video on as like pre-recorded loop, or possibly not actually because I haven't recorded it. But thank you very much for joining us, and we'll head off. I'll just try and get this linked on the store page, but I think that's the only thing to do. So thank you very much. Do let us know your feedback. Can't wait to hear it. And yeah, thank you much to everyone, and take care. Bye-bye.
Alright, so he's done. I am going to restart the live stream as a new video because I have to edit out me sleeping at the beginning of this one. So if you want to get the DLC right now, go ahead, go to the store page, hit browse on content for game, and if it ever load, it will load up this page, it'll show you the DLC, and then if you just hit new releases down here at the bottom, it will get you to the Frontier update. Okay, so I'm going to restart the stream, and we got the crew here. No, we don't. We have Captain here. Everybody else left. But we'll bring some of you in. We can talk. So I'll be right back, and I'll restart the stream with a new one.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Your little face disappeared from the
Me too.
thing. Okay. All right, we'll be right back.